My wife was just walking our newborn when an HOA Karen blocked her in, demanded proof the baby was hers, and threatened to call the cops. But what she didn't know was who I really am. And when I showed her my federal badge, her whole world flipped upside down.
I live in a quiet, gated suburban community just outside of Atlanta. The kind of neighborhood with trimmed lawns, white fences, and overly curious neighbors. My wife, Layla, and I had just welcomed our newborn son, Micah, into the world 3 weeks ago. We were exhausted, emotional, and doing our best to adjust to the chaos of new parenthood. We thought the biggest hurdle would be sleepless nights and endless diapers. We were wrong. You see, there's a woman in our neighborhood everyone calls HOA Karen. Her real name's Maureen, but the nickname fits like a glove. She's the self-proclaimed queen of the Homeowners Association. Clipboard in hand, binoculars at the ready, always peeking through blinds and catching rule breakers like it's her full-time job. Everyone knows she's nosy. But no one expected her to cross the line the way she did. One warm Tuesday morning, Layla decided to take baby Micah for a walk in the stroller. Just a short stroll down a block to breathe some fresh air. I was on a video call for work when my phone buzzed with a panic text from her. Come outside now. Something's wrong. Karen won't let me leave. I bolted from my home office and rushed out the front door. What I saw made my blood boil. Layla stood on the sidewalk, clutching the stroller, face pale. Karen had her blocked in, arms crossed, phone in one hand. Two other neighbors were standing nearby awkwardly. Karen looked furious. She's refusing to prove this baby is hers. Karen barked before I could even speak. I called the authorities. You don't just walk around here with someone's baby and expect us not to notice. I blinked. Excuse me? Karen turned to me, eyes narrowing. We've never seen her pregnant. She doesn't look like she just had a baby. And this baby's skin tone doesn't even match hers. Something doesn't add up. Now, Layla is biracial. Her father is black and her mother is Filipina. Micah had inherited more of my side. I'm black with deep brown skin. But none of that mattered. What mattered was the fact that a woman was accusing my wife of stealing our child in the middle of our neighborhood. That's when I realized this wasn't just ignorance. It was pure, deliberate racial profiling. Karen kept ranting. We have rules here. This is a secure neighborhood. We can't just have strangers walking around with infants. She refuses to show proof. I calmly stepped forward and pulled out my wallet. Not just any wallet, the one with my federal credentials. I opened it and held it up to her smug face. I'm a federal agent, Karen. Homeland Security. That's my wife. That's my son. And what you're doing right now is harassment, racial profiling, and attempted kidnapping. Because yes, detaining a mother from leaving with her own child counts. Her mouth dropped open. You think you're protecting this community? No. You just humiliated an innocent woman. You called the cops? Good. Let them come. I'll show them what real law enforcement looks like. And just like that, the mask fell. Karen started stuttering. I didn't mean it like that. I was just concerned. Concerned enough to accuse my wife of being a baby snatcher in broad daylight. Concerned enough to imply our child doesn't belong to us because of his skin tone. I turned to the neighbors. Did any of you back her up? Or did you just stand here and let it happen? One woman shook her head. We tried to tell her to back off, but she wouldn't listen. Minutes later, a patrol car rolled up. Two officers stepped out, one of them a black woman who instantly raised her eyebrows when she saw Karen. Karen tried to play the victim. I just called because something didn't feel right. The officer looked at me. I showed my badge again. Within moments, the situation flipped. The officer told Karen in no uncertain terms that detaining a mother, calling the police without cause, and using racially charged accusations could carry serious legal consequences. She warned Karen about filing false reports and misuse of emergency services. I could tell Karen was trying to disappear into the sidewalk. Layla was shaking. I held her hand tight. That night, we filed a formal complaint with the HOA. I wasn't playing anymore. This wasn't just about a nosy neighbor. It was about systemic bias and abuse of power hidden behind a homeowners association badge. And I wasn't the only one fed up. The next week, over a dozen neighbors showed up at the HOA meeting in support of us. Karen tried to speak. She was shut down. A vote was called to remove her from her position, and it passed unanimously. She was gone, but what really stuck with me wasn't her fall. It was the quiet apology from the neighbors who hadn't said anything that day. One woman, a nurse, told us she'd been scared of confronting Karen in public. She makes life miserable for anyone who challenges her, she whispered. And that's the problem, isn't it? People like her don't just get power.
They're allowed to keep it because others stay silent, but not anymore. Now let me ask you, watching this, if you had seen this happening on your street, would you have stepped in or watched from your porch? Would you speak up if it wasn't your baby, but someone else's dignity being attacked? And tell me, where in the world are you watching from right now? I want to know, because this isn't just a neighborhood problem. It's a national one. And it ends when enough of us say, not on my street.